Um, I, I have two: Whitney Houston's "Whitney" and En Vogue "Funky Divas."
Oh my God, bless
Whoa.
you.
That is awesome. Fantastic.
Rest assured, Eli, we probably would have hung out in 1991.
We can hang out in 2021, Angela. Let's make up for lost time.
Woo!
Right on. All right. So we're changing things up a little bit here today. I know when Eli, when I throw over to you, you'll explain like, we're going to bringing people up a little differently. Like, we have our regulars and then we're going to wait a little bit more towards the Spotify spot and then we're going to open up for the round table. Is that correct? All right. Yeah, so if we don't invite you up right away, it's not that we don't love you. It's we're going to just kind of bring everybody up later during the program. I think that's how it works. And with that being said, here we are, the countdown. Hey, and welcome to the Music News Power Hour here on the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. And today we are going to talk about Twitch creators once again outraged with DMCA issues, Spotify versus Apple versus Tidal versus the rest of the streaming platforms. Which one is the best? UK concert insurance, it's a possibility now, and festival updates, plus the blockchain can be hacked. And, of course, your daily Spotify update. It is Tuesday, and let's welcome our co-hosts Eli Window and Angela Randall. How you doing, Eli? Angela?
It's great to see you, Peter. How are you? Angela, how are you today? It's good to see you both.
I'm great, thanks. But I'm drowning in the rain. Please send us sunshine from the west.
Stay tuned for the weather update.
Yes, we will have the weather update very soon. And just also want to remind people here that we have a lot of new people coming in from Android, and it is supposed to be opened up worldwide. And, by Friday, they're saying, with the Android platform. So what, we're also asking is people to ping your friends in. What's happening is, and Clubhouse is doing a great job in the back of getting things set up with the search functionality. So it's, we might not see that it's, there's great search functionality right now, but they are working on it. But that means when the rooms are started, the people from Android are not seeing the room. So if you think there's some people that would be great to join in the conversation, or you feel this would be important and great for them, feel free to just ping them in. That way they'll get access, be able to see the room. So I just want to throw that out there. And with that being said, let's start off with Eli and this day in history. Take it away, Eli.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. A lot to talk about today. Let's remember today from 1980 the death of Joy Division singer and guitarist Ian Curtis, who hanged himself in the kitchen of his house in Macclesfield, England at the age of 23 in memory. Also in memory, on this day, 2017, we lost American musician, singer, and songwriter Chris Cornell, who died suddenly in Detroit after performing at a show with Soundgarden. Cornell was known for his role as one of the architects of the 90s grunge movement and for his nearly 4-octave vocal range, as well as his powerful vocal belting techniques. He released 4 solo studio albums, as well as working with Audioslave and Temple of the Dog, in memory. Also in memory, today in 2019, we lost R&B singer Melvin Edmonds, who died at the age of 65. He was a member of the group After Seven and the brother of Babyface, Kenny Emmons. After Seven scored the hits Can't Stop, Ready or Not, and Heat of the Moment in memory. Moving on, birthdays today. Born this day, 1912, American singer and television personality Perry Como. Born this day, 1949, Rick Wakeman, English keyboardist, songwriter, television, and radio presenter. As a session musician, his early sessions included playing on Space Oddity for David Bowie and on songs for Junior's Eyes, T-Rex, Elton John, and Cat Stevens. Wakeman became a member of Strawbs and then the classic lineup in Yes. As a solo artist, he scored the 1974 UK #1 album, Journey to the Center of the Earth, born this day, 1949. And born May 18th, 1950, American musician Mark Mothersbaugh, co-founder of the new wave band Devo. Born this day, 1952, American country music singer, songwriter, and actor George Strait. And born this day, 1961, Russell Sr., guitarist with English rock band Pulp. Happy birthday. Moving on this day in history, May 18th, 1993, Janet Jackson released Janet. The album's first week sales of 350,000 copies was the highest for a female artist at that time. The album went on to sell over 14 million copies worldwide. May 18th, 2000, Madonna's boyfriend Guy Ritchie was arrested after attacking a fan outside of the superstar's London home. Ritchie was said to have kicked and punched a male fan after the couple returned home from a night out. And on this day, 2019, a sweater worn by Kurt Cobain during the singer's last photo shoot with Nirvana sold for $75,000 at a New York auction. Also sold for $23,000 was Nirvana's handwritten set list from an April 1990 concert in Washington, D.C., which Cobain wrote with a black marker on a paper plate. Cobain had eaten some pizza before the show and proceeded to write the set list on the plate from which he had eaten his pizza. And that pizza plate with the set list on it sold for $23,000. So save your set lists, especially if they're written on your pizza plate. Let that be a lesson to us.
I can't even tell how many times I was managing, but I'm like, merch table after your set list, pull it off stage, sign it, get all the band members to sign it, and sell it. People love that. And, happy birthday, Rick Wakeman. I am a huge Wakeman fan. Inspired me so much. And yeah, I tried my best to play like him, but it got me only so far. I think he could outplay me with his pinky. So with that being said, Eli, I know can you just give us a little update on the format change that we're doing a little bit here?
Yeah, first we want to remind you to use the plus sign at the bottom of the room to ping your friends in. We welcome all of our Android users, and we want to remind you to invite them into the room. They may not be seeing the room in their feed. So use the plus sign to ping your friends in. And if you'd like to join our discussion, we have a roundtable discussion that we are going to bring in after we finish reading the headlines. So if there's anything that we discuss in the headlines today that you would like to join the conversation on, please keep in mind that we're going to open up our roundtable discussion right after our Spotify spot where we discuss technology updates for musicians. So please do join the conversation in the chat or use the little high five sign at the bottom of the room to raise your hand and join the conversation. After the Spotify spot, we're going to open up for a roundtable. We would love to hear your thoughts.
Right on. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're just about to start. And just so you know, this is where we scour the World Wide Web for music business news that we think should be opened for discussion. We're going to start the reads very shortly. Just want to welcome everybody tuning in on our live stream feed. How you doing out there in Twitch, YouTube, Facebook land, and a whole bunch of other places. And feel free to, if you have any questions, to throw them in the chat. And also, like Eli said, feel free to raise your hand during the reads. We'll bring you up to have for the roundtable discussion. Just so you know, this is being recorded and live streamed on the Music Industry City platforms. And if you just want to tune into all programming network events, tap the green house at the top to follow the Clubhouse group. And you can also register for free at musicindustrycity.com. With that being said, let's get to it. Right, we just have. We're going to start off with a little more live venue announcements. We're going to go kind of quickly through these, but if you want to follow along with all the articles that we cover, you can go to musicindustrycity.com, click on the show notes graphic, and that'll take you to all the headlines that we cover throughout the week. And we keep them running until Friday when we have the week in review. So at that point, that's more of an open industry roundtable. So if there's something you wanted to talk about that maybe got to settle in over the week and any updates, feel free to join in for that. It's a great party on Friday. So with that being said, this is Live for Live Music. New York City's Irving Plaza to reopen in 2021 with 40 concert series following multi-million-dollar renovations, and it comes with photos. So it's going to reopen starting Tuesday, August 17th, following a 2-year closure and multi-million-dollar renovation, Live Nation announced on Monday. The 1,200 capacity venue situated just a few blocks from Union Square is set to herald its return with an initial slate of over 40 confirmed concerts set to take place throughout the second half of this year and into next year. Some of the artists include Ashley McBryde, Coulter Wall, Ben Folds, The Struts, Lotus, Kevin Gates, and The Record Company. With improved sightlines, state-of-the-art sound and lights, and world-class production, Live Nation focused the renovation process on, quote, enhancing the overall concert experience throughout the venue for both artists and fans while maintaining the venue's 19th century charm. All right, so there's some new additions to the venue, include an upscale VIP lounge with private bar and balcony level boxes that offer unobstructed views of the stage, enabling fans the best seats in the house. To ensure the artist experience is just as premium as the fans, 2 fully renovated balcony level artist dressing rooms feature direct stage access and an adjacent green room with a private bathroom and amenities. The expanded lobby and bar area also provide a new space for multifunctional use, including artist merchandise, meet and greets, or individually curated events. In addition, Irving Plaza now boasts next generation Cisco Wi-Fi 6 for faster and more reliable social connectivity. All right, so yeah, I mean, this has been a landmark since 1978. It's I'm a fan of the venue. I'm looking forward to that. With that being said, we're going to just go a little bit more on New York City. Radio City Music Hall to reopen to maskless vaccinated full houses. This one is in the New York Times. The venue will welcome audiences back indoors June 19th for the Tribeca Festival's closing night. The music hall will welcome streams of fully vaccinated people past its neon marquees and back into its gilded Art Deco auditorium beginning June 19th for the final evening of the Tribeca Festival, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced on Monday. Quote, this beautiful hall will be filled once again, and having Radio City back to 100% without masks with people enjoying New York and New York arts is going to not only be symbolic and metaphoric, but I think it's going to go a long way toward bringing back this state. There was going to be talking about how these rules would be implemented, whether ushers would follow the honor system or check for proof of vaccinations. He confessed that James Dolan, the executive chairman and chief executive of the Madison Square Garden Company, confessed that some details were still being worked out. He said, quote, that's a really good question. I have no idea. We will be working with the state and we will figure out a way for it to happen. All right. So
you know why they said that, right?
Because
it's impossible to vet.
Exactly.
That's why they can't vet it. There's no way to vet it. So,
well, and as you've brought to the table many times, just wonderful. That people we're selling vaccine cards. People can hack these any of those apps.
Yeah, the apps. Any app can be hacked just by looking at anybody's card information on social media. There was a bar owner in LA arrested with over 3,000 blank vaccine cards in his possession. So the only thing that none of these representatives want to admit is that in no way can they vet it.
And we were just talking about last night in a room, Chris, about some sort of tour standards. Will there be health and safety standards for touring? And we were saying how difficult that is to regulate, how difficult that is to vet, and who's going to fund that. And let's be real, the vaccination cards are basically printed on cardstock. They're too big to fit into your wallet, and there's not really a universal system for documenting those cards right now. And so how could they vet?
They can't.
We can't even keep track of it within the system. How could they possibly vet when there's no way to vet it?
Yeah, and I've posed this to people before. Your own doctor doesn't know you've been vaccinated unless you've actually taken the card to their office and had it put into your record. And then we have millions of people in this country that are unable, unfortunately, to even have a doctor or insurance to be able to go in. Nobody's going to pay, a $50, $100 office visit just to go in and say they've been vaccinated to put it into some record. It's just... It's kind of crazy that people are even looking at it that way because it just can't be vetted.
Yeah, and Chris, to wrap that up, I was on a ferry this past weekend, and I overheard, probably some like 19-year-old girl, maybe somewhere around that age, where she was saying, "Oh, what they're going to check for my, my vaccine card if I have to get, or wear a mask on the ferry. I'll just call my drug dealer and get one from him."
Hey, it wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me. But again, we've got so many companies trying to monetize this and figure it out. And then, I question by the time you were able to sort that out, create some database and do anything else, would this be like other catastrophes and kind of be by the wayside on the greater scale of things? Because let's remember, there were tens of millions that didn't believe this in the first place. So.
And Eric Clapton still seems to be one of those. And we're going to also tie this into when you talk about things getting hacked, and we hear about the blockchain, and we're going to be talking about later on that blockchains were supposed to be unhackable, and now they're getting hacked. So anything can be hacked. Don't let them tell you otherwise.
Wait, you're telling me that an unregulated, uninsured form of some idea of currency has been in some way compromised? I'm fucking shocked and appalled.
Say it ain't so.
I'm gonna close up the reads before we go to the roundtable with that one, just for you. But with that being said, we're just gonna wrap on the live sector here segments. Just Red Rocks. It seems like Red Rocks is one that we just kind of been going to as like the bar. So Red Rocks is increasing capacity for concerts. And what they're saying is they have announced capacity limits are increasing for many, but not all events happening at the iconic venue. Denver city officials said 6,300 fans will be allowed to attend concerts starting with Saturday's Mount Joy concert. Capacity will remain at 6,300 until June 21st. Concerts and events happening after June 21st are being sold at full capacity, which is 9,545 people. And they also talked about the fitness programs. Yoga on the Rocks, for example, are now at their full capacity limits of 2,000 people. And the events have been previously capped at 500 attendees. So we've kind of seen like a lot with Red Rocks as the barometer out there. And just another quick announcement. This one is in Pitchfork. Pitchfork Music Festival 2021 lineup and dates announced. Tickets are on sale now for the Chicago Fest taking place September 10th through the 12th, headlined by Erykah Badu, St. Vincent, and Phoebe Bridges. So that has a lot of people excited. 3-day passes are $195, single-day passes are $90, and then they have the Pitchfork Plus upgrade and a whole bunch of other things. But again, that's if you want to find out more, you can go to the show notes, musicindustrycity.com, click on show notes, and you get all the headlines. We're going to change things up to technology. And if anybody is familiar with live streaming or any of that area, feel free to raise your hand to jump in to join in for like the roundtable discussion. We can bring this back. This is in Digital Music News, and the headline is Twitch creators slam DMCA strikes. Quote, it can't get any worse than this. And we thought it couldn't get any worse than it was back in August or September of last year. And what they're saying is Twitch creators revolting over its harsh DMCA strikes policy, calling it unfair. And for anybody that has been following along, Twitch has been basically putting creator against creator, and they would tell their the emails that went out, and as a creator there, I get these emails, and they were saying, if you don't want to get taken down, don't use the music, and then they wouldn't supply ways of deleting your VODs in bulk, like going back years. And then Twitch was also caught that if you deleted your video on demand, it was on a public server. So even though it was deleted from your account, the RIAA and all the other data scraping devices could find that, and you would still get stricken with a takedown notice from the RIAA, and also you would get your account banned from Twitch. So they haven't been very good about this. Twitch certainly can find the money with Amazon to make things better, but let's go deeper into this article. YouTuber Angry Joe has a reputation for getting angry on camera about games. He has a new topic, and Twitch, his channel was recently hit by a DMCA strike, which he details, quote, copyright strikes do not depreciate after a set period of time. If I receive 3 strikes, my channel is terminated, yet I can't see the strike. I can't submit a counter notification. I can't submit a dispute. It can't get any worse than this. And he's right. Twitch is playing DMCA strike whack-a-mole with its creators because it doesn't want to license music properly, like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and countless other content publishing sites. And he delves into how this strike's problem really is for creators. He received a copyright strike in February 2021 for a clip, the game Call of Duty Warzone. He uploaded the clip to Twitch on November 2020, featuring a small clip from the Astronomia song. And he Quote, here is your DMCA strike. What is the clip? We don't have a link to the clip. We told you to delete all of your VODs. There is no dispute button. You can't even review the VODs identified in the DMCA notifications in your dashboard. Creators on Twitch are its biggest important asset, but the platform is throwing them to the wolves. 3 strikes are enough to get Twitch creators banned permanently. That means a permanent loss of monthly revenue, especially if you built up an audience. And they're saying that this it goes on a little bit more, but it's interesting that things are getting worse instead of getting better with Twitch and DMCA. And Twitch is really kind of to blame for this because they just don't want to deal with proper licensing. Has anybody here live streams or has any artists or is dealing with any of this? Please feel raise your hand and join up in this conversation, and we'll take it to the round table.
Hey, Peter, a friend of mine in LA, actually, who's very heavily involved in this community and very heavily involved in the online gaming community, has heard that there is circulating talks among some of the heavier users about proposing a Twitch blackout day, whereby no creators upload anything or sign on or do anything for an entire day and literally black out the entirety of Twitch. Just to send a message that they're frustrated. I wondered if anybody else had heard anything about that.
I've heard rumors like that about several platforms, and what still shocks me is anybody thinks that it's actually going to do anything. Nobody forces anybody to use any platforms, paid for or not. I don't know. I don't get it. It's...
Well, sometimes just bringing awareness. I mean, those protests outside of Spotify that they had wasn't going to change Spotify's payout. But what they did do in response to it was create that separate Spotify website. I can't remember what exactly it's called, to help people understand a little bit better about the economics behind it. So it does have some effect, but yeah, you're not going to get the effect that you're going for. That's pretty much. They're trying to just bring more awareness, and hopefully something can get done with this Twitch licensing, because there are music creators. And here's the other issue with Twitch is even in their terms and conditions, if you read what their terms and conditions are, nobody could ever play music on Twitch, period. If they enforced what their 4 or 5 main points are, they would have to shut down every musician on Twitch almost.
Yeah, but it's not about enforcement. It's the
Right.
same thing like your when you valet park a car, and the back of your ticket says they're not responsible for anything. That's not necessarily true. Anybody can sue anybody, but they have to put the language on there. So a lot of times people don't realize that the language or terms of conditions or anything else are there just as a liability protection, kind of a blanket thing that kind of has to be said sort of thing, that the lawyers want to put there. That's why billable hours exist, right? But when you go to affect change, and these ideas of blackouts or protesting out front, that doesn't necessarily affect change. And like anything else, there's so much content and things going on in the world that even you couldn't remember the website. How many people are actually going to read what the payout is? Only the artists, fans. So people that actually use it to listen to music aren't going to read any of that. They're unaware what artists get paid. They're not necessarily concerned. They're looking for the cheapest way to consume the most content, and that's it.
Right on. Yeah, and I'll probably get DMCA'd because we're live streaming right now, and it won't fall on the ephemeral license.
Here, let me help you out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Get it all taken down. So, all right. just moving over to the streaming services here. This one is in musictech.net. And it's not about the competition here. I just wanted to bring awareness because a lot of people like to complain about streaming services and pricing and how much they're paying. And, Spotify's not paying enough money and this. Well, there are options. And this one is Spotify versus Apple Music versus Tidal, the 12 best music streaming services in 2021. I'm not going to go through all the pros and cons of each one. That is in the document, which you can find at musicindustrycity.com. Click on the show notes and it'll be in there. I just wanted to point out what they're talking about is the ones that they are reviewing here and talking about in a glance is Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, Adagio, Audio Mac, Jazzed, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and Loom, which is LU with the 2 dots over it, M. And that's more of a social platform. It's interesting. So I just like, when people are saying they get fed up with one, there's many more than these out there. So here's just a good starting point so you can check them out. And some are more genre specific. And that's, for like classical or world music, jazz, things like that. There are other platforms. So, look out and check out what else is out there. And on the tech side, from 9 to 5 Mac, this is built-in Shazam music recognition is now an app clip in iOS 14.6. So finally, after that acquisition many, many years ago, they are finally incorporating to Apple. So Shazam, the article starts, Shazam, which is owned by Apple, was fully integrated into the iPhone and iPad last year with 14.2, which introduced a new toggle to identify songs right from the control center. Now with iOS 14.6, Apple has expanded that integration and turned it into an app clip packed with information about the song. With the previous integration, the user was redirected to the Shazam website once they tapped the control center toggle to identify the song. Now that experience has become more like of a native app thanks to a new Shazam app clip that comes with the new Apple iOS rollout. So what the app clip is a small part of an app that quickly downloaded to the device so users can experience the app and interact without having to download the full version. This feature has been available for developers since the introduction of iOS 14, and now Apple is adopting its own apps. And this is really interesting to see because now we're going to start seeing this expansion on tech and a lot of different companies that are allowing you to build your own apps on their platforms. These are going to be more like the kind of more of an app clip in a sense. So it's going to change how apps are going to be on your phone. And I don't know if that means it's going to be more or less of a mess on your desktop screens. But, as a fan of Shazam and a big user, I find anything that makes it easier to integrate, and unfortunately I still can't integrate it back to my Spotify playlist. That was my favorite part, but I guess I have to wait for Apple Music. And with that being said, I'd like to turn over to Eli and check in with the weather.
All right, let's take a look at the weather worldwide, around the streams, around the globe. Many of our viewers on stream have reported a strange influx of new neighbors who don't know how to use smartphones. This has been determined to be a weather-related phenomenon because, as we know, April showers bring May flowers and May flowers bring pilgrims. Back to you, Peter.
I have no idea what just.
I feel attacked, but somehow in the opposite direction. I don't know.
I literally laughed out loud.
I kind of spit out my drink on stream. So with that said, Angela, we're going to make you feel a little bit less attacked, and we are going to kick this one across the pond. And this is in IQ Mag, and the title is Hope on the Horizon for UK Cancellation Insurance. Yes, that was a question mark at the end of the title. The UK Cultural Secretary says that if commercial insurance for events is still unavailable by June 21st, the government will intervene. After an ongoing battle for event cancellation insurance in the UK, the government has indicated it will intervene if commercial insurance is still unavailable when the country is scheduled to fully reopen. In last week's DCMS, that's the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport Select Committee meeting, Secretary of State Oliver Dowden said that if events still cannot go ahead by stage 4 of the roadmap, that's June 21st, because of market failure with commercial insurance, the government would, quote, intervene in the same way we did with film and TV. When Dowden was asked whether festivals and events should write off the summer, he answered, No. Quote, my first priority is to make sure we get the events industry up and running, which requires us to reach stage 4 by June 21st. Once we get to that point, if events still can't go ahead because of this failure of the commercial insurance market, we stand ready to use government intervention in exactly the same way we did with film and TV. I've had extensive discussions with the Prime Minister and Chancellor on this, but we first must know if something can go ahead, and if the final barrier is lack of commercial insurance, then we can go about acting. All right, so it goes on a little deeper, and there's a lot more to happen here. But what we have is, when asked whether the government's plan to intervene is coming too late, he's responded through the Cultural Recovery Fund. We have acted, particularly round 2 and with round 3. These are challenges around bringing forward identity and insurance, firstly, in not knowing we can fully go ahead with events from June 21st. It is not reasonable to expect the taxpayer to provide identity if it is not possible for the events to happen. There are also questions in relation to scope. At this stage, it would be better to get clarity exactly where the gap lies when things open, to then determine the extent of government intervention to fill the final mile. All right. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to unpack here. Angela, I know this is over on your land plot. Yeah, did you hear anything
Yeah, I
about this?
mean, the talks have been ongoing for quite some time.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nikki's in the room with us today. She's not actually, but she regularly deals with that committee, and they've been sort of keeping us all updated. They released a survey, which part of the article does quote that 92% of respondents to that survey indicate that they will not be going ahead with their events if there isn't some sort of insurance available. And part of the barriers for that is obviously companies that vendors and companies that need deposits to actually put these events on. I mean, if your event is planned at the end of June, it's probably highly unlikely that by the 21st you'll still be able to make the necessary contracts, put the deposits down, and have all of that in place in time. So they're holding off planning the events, and since they waited so long, it's gonna be sort of a floodgate opening up when they do provide this. But I will say what they did for film and TV was quite extensive. There's about a 30-part scheme that they've outlined. And I would think that even some of this is due to just literally working out all of the kinks and being able to get it all down on paper so that everybody has an idea of what the scheme entails. But what I can say about the government thus far is, although they've been dragging their feet with the arts and keeping everybody afloat, especially in the live music sector, when they do come good, they do eventually make a scheme available so that no one is left completely high and dry. It's probably just not an optimal situation. So I know a lot of the bigger events are kind of going it alone, or canceling, or postponing, or rescheduling. But the events that actually will be able to take place, it's nice to know that the government does plan on providing some semblance of an intervention so that insurance companies aren't holding all the cards. So watch this space.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we've been talking about this since probably March or February is when it really started coming to a head.
Yeah, that's when the survey was actually issued. So it looks like the results have come in, everything's been vetted and verified. And I think of those, I think we reported in this room that a few weeks back, there was an amount of festivals, and you might remember it off the top of your head, of how many of the small localized ones won't be going ahead. It was definitely in the thousands. So it does seem like they were kind of waiting for everybody to make up their minds to cancel ahead of time. And then everybody that's left still standing is probably a safer bet for the government to back their event. So it does seem to have been a sort of a bet hedging maneuver. But at the same time, it probably will benefit everybody, because if you're a small festival anyway, they may not have had the attendance levels needed to recoup back anyway. So it's probably best that a few of them didn't go on, but at least the government is sticking their neck out for the sort of larger ones so that we have proof, these sort of prove events that make it possible for the smaller ones to feel comfortable.
Right, I appreciate that. And we also announced there was another concert event being taken place with 10,000 people, and this was part of a test, and that's coming up. But also, have you heard anything on the timeline for them releasing the results of the Liverpool festival, and we'll just call it a rave?
I was told the 23rd of May. So I'm still holding firm on that. I don't see Wolfie in the room now, and I can reach out to Bob when we leave the room today. So hopefully I'll try and get an update if anything's changed. But I would say go on thereabouts the 23rd of May for results. And the Brits, I've heard the end of May, 31st of May. That's a bank holiday here, so it might be 1st of June in fairness.
Right on. All right, thanks for that. All right, we just want to give you another little update on the audio wars, the audio chat wars, whatever you want to call them. And this one is Fireside, made in India Clubhouse rival, clocks over 100,000 downloads in a week after launch. And so this is a different type of Fireside. And I just want to be, the reason I'm covering this one just lightly is we just want you to be aware when you are talking about Fireside, there's a Fireside chat app. There's another there's about 3 or 4 different Fireside apps that are out there. And we don't want what happened with Zoom when we first went to lockdown and everybody started buying a stock in Zoom, and they were actually buying stock in the wrong Zoom company. So they actually had a halt trading on that, I believe, for that company because so many people, it went up like a few 100% in 24 hours. So be careful. Just pay attention to what the Firesides are. This one is talking about the 100,000 downloads on Google Play app nearly a week after the launch. The audio-based chat app developed by founders of short video platform Chingari had also released the app via the Apple App Store for free. However, its iOS-specific download figures remain unclear. Fireside, which debuted at a time when India is battling the deadly second wave of COVID, aims to provide relief to users through audio-based conversation. So they're saying the platform looks similar to Clubhouse in terms of design and features, though its availability on Android aims to give it an edge over the rivals. Fireside also competes against Twitter's, Spaces. We have so many going on, but I just wanted to open this one up just to be aware of when you're talking about somebody Fireside. I think Angela, you and I had this conversation. I was like, oh yeah, Fireside. And you're like, oh yeah, this one I haven't seen, and I'm like, no, the one with the other logo.
Yeah, I got very confused when I was invited into a room and everyone was in India but me, and I went, wow, this is a very specific niche room. How odd.
There you go. All right. With that being said, the blockchain. So again, some of the reasons we cover certain articles is just to bring more awareness. Because like NFTs, blockchains, cryptocurrencies, all that technology. There's the sensational headlines that we're going to make a lot of money and it's going to save the world and save the music industry. But just remember, everything is data. And there's always going to be somebody out there trying to get that. This one is from Futurism. It's called Blockchains Were Supposed to Be Unhackable. Now they're getting hacked. Until recently, blockchains were seen as unhackable technology powering and securing cryptocurrencies, but that's no longer the case. Hackers have gotten away with nearly $2 billion worth of cryptocurrency since 2017 by attacking the unique vulnerabilities of blockchains. The MIT Technology Review reports, in other words, forget what you've heard from Bitcoin boosters. Just because information or currency is on a blockchain doesn't necessarily mean that it's more secure than any other form of storage. In one recent attack, a hacker was able to gain control over Ethereum Classic's network and rewrite transaction history. As a result, the attacker was able to double spend cryptocurrencies, getting away with some $1.1 million. In fact, the same qualities that make blockchain technology so secure may also be the source of several unique vulnerabilities. A stark reminder that despite the hype, cryptocurrencies can't entirely sidestep the vulnerabilities of any other banking systems. Until the Ethereum Classic incident, hackers were genuinely aiming at their sites at exchanges, the place where people trade and hold cryptocurrencies. By gaining the majority over the digital currency's computing power, the hacker was able to defraud other users by sending them payments, then rewriting the existing blockchain ledger to cover their tracks. This new ledger then exists as the authoritative one, a scheme known as a 51% hack. While it's an exceedingly expensive stunt to pull off when it comes to popular cryptocurrencies, smaller currencies are cheaper to take over, and we should expect far more 51% attacks in the near future. And there's, you still have to pay attention to the phishing and malware attacks. for gullible targets, tricking them to handing over their credentials. Hackers have also been known to steal the keys to cryptocurrency wallets, the place where somebody's balance is stored in the blockchain. So again, I've gotten a phone call from a detective in Minnesota that was asking me about my Coinbase because the mayor of the town there was hacked, and somehow they linked it to my Coinbase account. And I went over to Coinbase and I realized my Coinbase account is frozen. And it's been months trying to clear this up. I can't do anything with my Coinbase because somebody somehow hacked mine and hacked theirs and all that. And that's the exchange. That's the wallet. And that's the exchange and everything. So now they're actually changing the records on the blockchain itself. Be careful, people. And with that being said, I have one more article from Complete Music Update, and that's the IMPF and IMPEL announced charter of cooperation to set out 10 priorities. The Independent Music Publishers International Forum last week announced a charter of cooperation with IMPEL, the organization that represents a consortium of indie music publishers in the digital licensing space. The partnership will mainly see two groups collaborate on research and knowledge exchange, utilizing IMPEL's digital licensing expertise and IMPF's lobbying and campaigning skills. The two organizations has also published a set of 10 beliefs and principles. They are mainly requests and demands of the digital music services and the wider music industry regarding the utilization and valuation of song rights, with a brief accompanying mention of the need for, quote, operational excellence, which may be alluding to the role of publishers themselves in tackling the data issues and royalty chain complexities, which make the payment of song royalties so inefficient. That's complex, convoluted, and that was a lot to read. So this goes into a lot deeper here, and what they're saying is, however, when it comes to the digital pie debate, IMPF, IMPEL demands don't target the record industry's share of digital income directly, simply saying instead that, quote, streaming services should be contributing more revenue to songwriters and publishers. So the 10 beliefs are music is not fungible. It is unique. Of course, they had to use the word fungible in there. I think that's just a sign of the times. Independent music publishers are the creative and economic stewards of songs, and developers of songwriters in the earliest stages of their professional careers. They're indispensable to the music ecosystem, therefore to streaming services. And the value of a publisher's repertoire should be measured by its contribution to a digital platform success. It goes on for 7 more, and you can read this article in more depth at musicindustrycity.com. Click on the show notes graphic, and it'll take you there. I know, again, this is Angela. Is this kind of over in your wheelhouse?
Somewhat. You know how I feel about this, and I think the article obviously pretty much sums it up. But definitely something to keep in mind and discuss a bit further, maybe in the round table. I can't be the only one that has feelings.
All right. Yeah, I guess it's going to be starting that time to get everybody going for the round table. With that, Eli, it's going to be your favorite spot.
It is my favorite spot. We are moving into the Spotify spot, the big green dot. It hits the spot. We are discussing music headlines today, and we're moving into the final segment of our headline read portion of the show. We are about to enter the round table, so feel free to slap that high five button at the bottom of the room to raise your hand and join the discussion. We'll bring you up on stage if there's anything that you'd like to discuss in more depth, or if there's anything that you'd like to discuss that we haven't covered, please feel free to raise your hand. I know Carrie is down in the audience, and he did send us an article that we're going to discuss in the round table. So please feel free to raise your hand at this point, join our roundtable as we finish our headline reads, and don't forget to hit the plus sign at the bottom of the room also to ping your friends into the room, anybody that you think might be interested in our roundtable discussion. With that being said, let's go back to our final headlines of the day, Peter.
It is the Spotify spot. All right, this is the Spotify spot. Even though it's not a direct Spotify article, what it is, it's talking about a Spotify rival. Anghami expands into social audio space with new live radio feature, and this is Music Business Worldwide last week. Prominent Middle East and North Africa-focused music platform, Anghami, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, or Anghami, has launched a new live music and voice experience platform dubbed Live Radio. The launch of the new feature follows the news in March that they have entered into a definitive merger agreement with publicly traded special purpose acquisition company, SPAC, SPAC, This is Media Acquisition Company. That is another thing to pay attention to. What specs? This is something that's been around for a while, and just in the last 2 years have jumped from maybe like 10 of them a year to hundreds. So we're going to start seeing a lot of these pop up. It's another way of going public, and it is an interesting way. And again, if you're getting involved, please do your research. All right, so developed in-house, the platform claims that this is the first time that a streaming service globally is enabling users and contributors to, quote, create a social audio experience for sharing music and conversation. In March, rival Spotify announced its own entrance into the social audio business via the acquisition of Betty Labs, the creators of Locker Room, a sports-focused live talk app. And Daniel Ek later on said that Locker Room will be rebranded as Green Room, which will also focus on music. And Anghami said that it launched live radio beta back in mid-2020, featuring text chats and other functionality ahead of the full launch, which now includes voice chats for the first time. Musicians and creators will soon be able to create subscription-only channels, and the platform says that data from the beta phase revealed that active social users have a 30% higher retention rate, and social users overall stream 33% more average daily seconds than the standard active user. All right, so this is, he goes back saying, like, in fact, live audio rooms were part of their original business pitch in 2011. We saw the opportunity, and having been integrated social features such as stories and chats in 2017, now we are leading the way in delivering the next level of social audio to our users and contributors. So it's really interesting. I enjoy, like, other ways if they're streaming, you can get more streams to the artist streams. If there's no like station head, other different type of platforms where you can kind of be the DJ, I'm all for it. And with that being said, that is the end of the read. Let's head over to that round table and see what's going on. Anybody have any thoughts?
Yeah, Angela, I know that you had some thoughts on an article that you wanted to table until the round table, and we are there. Let's untable that tabled thought.
Well, I was actually referring to this last one because I'm just sort of curious about everybody in the room's thoughts about. We've discussed in this room so many times about how Spotify is moving away from being uniquely a music platform and more just becoming a listening or audio platform. Does anybody see it going further? Do we see eventually there being a clubhouse element that goes full throttle and has listening rooms where you can use your Spotify playlists and be able to sort of share them and play them in full quality in rooms like this? Is it or like Peter said, the station head example, which includes being able to sort of DJ and play music and then speak in between and invite others to participate. Is everybody getting on board with this idea, or is it more like, oh, stay in your lane, there's already stuff for
They're going to do whatever they want, and you can do it in the car thing. Yeah, I've been saying for years.
And then they're gonna come out with like a boat thing and like a belt thing and like a pocket thing. It'll be awesome.
And they're going to track you, and they'll track you from your car to your kitchen. Yeah, the answer to your question, Angela, is yes. I firmly believe, and I've been saying since for over a year, 2 years now, is that Spotify is an entertainment platform with the social aspect. There's this social. There is going to be. I think we are going to see more social. But the thing that they did with Facebook that you can now have, on your Facebook, and it's rolling out, is that you'll be able to play podcasts and stream music and playlists and everything directly from Facebook. And Facebook already has like watch parties. That is all just flicking a couple switches, adding a few 100 or 1,000 lines of code to just point it in a different direction. I mean, the integration's there. And having watch parties is going to be something, we're going to see that. Facebook, I think we're going to see Spotify in virtual reality somehow being embedded in there, because what Facebook has done with Oculus and what Facebook is doing with venues and like everything with their platforms, and to have an Oculus, which is at a price point that is attainable for, mass adoption, is that you have to have a Facebook account. So it has to be tied in. Already they've incorporated Messenger into your Oculus. So if I'm an Oculus and somebody sends me a message on Facebook, I get that. So we're going to see a lot of this, and I think it's just going to keep going and expanding from there. To the better or detriment of however you want to look at it.
I guess it
Were there,
depends on what you're looking at through your Oculus, right?
yeah. Are there any other articles that anybody wanted to bring up? I only mentioned that one because I was wondering what people were thinking.
I was particularly intrigued by the hack on the blockchains thing, and I've just done a little
You
bit.
don't say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, me too,
Um,
actually.
it's interesting because the whole idea of the security is that the concept being that 51% of the computers all have to be hacked at the same time before the next update to be able to actually rewrite something on the chain. That's what shouldn't be able to happen. So I was kind of curious, and so I've just done a little bit of research, and this is just Google research, so this could be completely wrong, but just by a quick cursory search, Ethereum Ethereum has 8,000 nodes. That means you'd have to hack 4,001 computers to be able to rewrite the chain. 4,000 differently geolocated computers to be able to rewrite the chain. So that sounds pretty slim, but actually Ethereum Classic, just on a quick Google search, looks like it's only got 616. So that means you'd actually have to only hack, I say only, 309 computers to be able to then rewrite the chain. So that actually sounds like that may be more towards the fact that the chain isn't as secure as other chains are, than that blockchain isn't secure as it should be, if that makes any sense.
Who
So
is that bored? I mean, seriously, aren't there other things to be doing than trying to hack 309
no, there's a
computers at
there,
once?
I think
well,
there's about
a server
however
farm.
many billion reasons Peter came
The
up with there.
payoff, yeah, the payoff
Yeah,
is huge.
yeah. So and like what about a coordinated attack with server farms?
Yeah, that's why cash is still king, right? Haha.
Do you mean the localized storing of data or the paper money?
Ooh, meta.
Yeah, the ones in my wallet. Yep.
All right. So yeah, I mean this it's really interesting, and that's why they're also saying that it's these you have to be careful of these other small coins, the ones that or shit coins. I mean, besides the fact of if you're getting your crypto investment advice from Reddit, you're already losing the battle. And the fact is, now you're looking at these smaller coins and shit coins and stuff that are just they don't have this extra layers of security, like Andy, like you pointed out, like Ethereum has this amount, and then you have different coins have different amounts of security and points.
I mean, Chris left, so I'll insert the sarcasm. You mean Reddit isn't the best possible place to research
Right.
an
Yeah.
industry that it is worth millions and in
Mhm.
some cases billions of dollars? That's
Is any
amazing.
yeah, is
That can't be
anybody
true.
does anybody here else like, and in the audience want to have if you have any experience you want to chime in, please feel to raise your hand and come onto the stage. We just have about 7 minutes left. And if there's anybody else that's on the stage that has any other topics or wanted to bring something to the table, or we can go back to one of the articles that we covered, feel free to shout it out.
I might have a quick question since we have Victoria here. I was wondering about AWOL and when the Orchard might be plugged in to distribution for them with the recent Sony deal.
Oh my gosh, Mike, can we start like a separate room and like talk
Oh,
about that for 3 hours? Because I think we could, man. I totally think we could. Oh my gosh, that's a great conversation that we could definitely spend a lot of time on for sure. I think that ping me when you open that room, please. I want to go into
okie
that
doke.
room, please, please. As always, if there's anything that you want to discuss, you can feel free to raise your hand. Join us on the stage here at the Music News Power Hour. We are in our final few minutes of our roundtable discussion. So if there's anything you want to bring to the group, bring to the stage, feel free to join us. Any final thoughts from anybody? Carrie, I know you had an article.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that one because it was from the music business worldwide. I wasn't sure if you guys had articles from there or not.
Yeah, was there a particular topic? I mean, we scour pretty much every the standard few music business sites, media outlets. And we also scour a lot more that is outside the music business, things like TechCrunch. So we definitely spend quite some time looking at the around the web for articles. And which was the topic that or the headline that you were discussing?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I talked to Eli about the MLC coming up, and that'd be great to maybe I could find an article for that because it's new. It's just for the U.S., but I don't think it's worldwide. But they do cover um, what the other what do they call it? The digital platform. So they should be worldwide, but I don't know why they say on their website only for U.S.
The MLC is only the U.S. There's a digital rights organization that represents artists from the UK that represent. You're talking about mechanical royalties, is that right?
Yes, yeah, the digital mechanical royalties.
Yeah, there's an organization here in the UK called the MCPS that does the same for UK based artists, and I believe they represent parts of Europe or can, although Brexit made that complicated. So don't hold me to that. It's only 6 months out. But yeah, it's definitely something we can talk about if the article's been submitted. Peter, I suppose that goes to you.
Well,
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely. And you
yeah.
know what?
Well,
Before we run out of time, I wanted to touch, if we could, on the article about Radio City Music Hall. Radio City Music Hall is such an iconic venue, and here we see in the headlines today a discussion about full capacity maskless audiences that have been fully vaccinated. And to me, that just that's kind of mind blowing. It seems like a step in the right direction. We definitely want to open back up and see full capacity audiences seated when it is safe. But at the same time, I'm curious to know if anybody has any final thoughts on this subject and whether this is going to encourage folks to be vaccinated before they come to Radio City, or is it going to encourage folks to get a vaccination card by any means necessary so that they can go to Radio City Music Hall? Any final thoughts from anybody on that?
and the
Peter knows
vaccination
a
card.
girl on the. Yeah, I was gonna say Peter knows a girl on the ferry's drug dealer that might be able to help. Just
Yeah.
kidding. That was a joke.
Right. Dial 1-900 Vax cards.
Right. Yeah. And that's something, we have to be careful about with and that's going to be the challenge. And then like all the, COVID compliance and everything that it's going to, think about. Also, the other thing is you also have to take in consideration that if they are checking these, you got to get to the show earlier. If doors are 7, shows 8:05, well, you're going to have to get to doors at 6 and online or as they do in the UK queue. So so
Or in the
basically,
Midwest, you get in line, not online.
yes. And with that being said, so we're going to have a few more. We're going to be following these topics as we go along. And again, you can go to musicindustrycity.com and you can register for free at musicindustrycity.com because we do shows that are not just here. We do shows in VR. We do networking events. We're going to start doing shows and get-togethers in person. We have a community forum that's rolling out for international as well, and there is a lot going on. It really is. So the best way to keep in touch and find out about that is to register for free at musicindustrycity.com. And we send out on Sundays, we send out an email that gives you the schedule and any updates. And then Wednesday, we send out another kind of a new thoughts email, get you thinking about what's going on. And Martina's pick, we have in the Good Day Music Room, which we do every Monday through Friday, just before this one at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern. That's more of a hangout. Come and say hi. Shout yourself in, as we like to say. And there you can tell us a little about what's going on, what you're working on, and ask any questions. And on Fridays, we have everybody shout out an artist that they want to suggest, and we make a playlist out of it. So again, in the show notes are all our playlists, which is curated by Martina. You shout out the artist, she creates the vibe and creates a playlist. And then on Wednesdays, we make the announcement of Martina's pick. She writes a little article about it, and you get the bragging rights that, hey, Martina picked my artists. So I know, Eli, I know there's a lot of great artists that you've shouted out in the past.
Well, I think that's the great thing about music. There are an awful lot of great artists, and we can all share. And speaking of sharing, I want to thank everybody who shared in our discussion today for the Music News Power Hour. We are about to wrap the room for this Tuesday, but you can join us every weekday from 12 to 1 Eastern right here at Music News Power Hour, and join us on stream on multiple platforms around the World Wide Web. Thank you so much to everybody who joined in the discussion today. We always appreciate hearing your thoughts and your input. And if there's anything you'd like to send us so that we can take a look at it for tomorrow, feel free to touch the little green Monopoly house and follow Music Industry City or visit musicindustrycity.com. On behalf of our UK correspondent, Angela Randall, and myself, Eli Window, I want to thank you so much for being part of the conversation today. Over to you, Peter. It's been a great
All
day in
right.
the Music News
Yeah,
Power Hour.
exactly. A lot of stuff. And thank you, Eli. Thank you, Angela. And thank you, everybody that sends me some articles, and also Eli, like in our Instagram. We really appreciate that. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. And it's that water cooler talk. And if there's anything that, there's something like, hey, I'd like to really bring something to the attention, just let us know. We'll, we can actually pre-plan it to have you come up on the stage. Like, hey, you want to talk about that Thursday? Let's make sure that happens, because this is all important. This is affecting careers, business, and everything. It's something great to look forward to. And with that being said, thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. We're out of here.
Cheerio.
Cheerio. Have a great day, everybody. It's good to see you.